Atlantica Online recently opened their Atlantica Europe server on Steam. Initially released in 2008, it is among one of the older MMORPGs still in running. The great thing about Atlantica is its real historical value. You play on the real world and meet famous historical people like Livingstone and Henry Ford, as well as a lot of mythical persons and monsters like Pandora or even Geppetto, the maker of Pinocchio. You travel through all the ancient places in the world and ultimately search for Atlantis. Since the game initially launched in Korea, that's where you pretty much start and you slowly work your way towards Beijing, helping people on the way. In character creation you can play with Atlanteans as a race, which is added somewhere around 5 years after the initial release. You start alone, but your party can add up to 8 mercenaries to aid you. And one of the first things that negatively impacts the game is that on the Atlantica Europe version you get a party full of guards as soon as you step out of the tutorial. That's of course including the gunner and the swordsman you get from the tutorial as well. This is relatively new and in my opinion a horrible idea. Not only can you never send them on an expedition or will they ever count as real mercenaries, they also get a share of their experience, which means ultimately your main character gets much less experience per battle. First thing to do is to lose those guys right away, or at least that's what I did. You don't need them at all. And then on level 3 you can open your first box, which contains some gear parts and for some reason a level 120 orb, which will give you a free level 120 champion, provided you are level 120, else it will be the level of your main character. The problem is this is a champion that would normally take a tremendous amount of time and effort to obtain, and you can choose from a whole array of champions. Now all is aimed to give new players a boost, and for some reason by now they still don't understand that this is the best way to spoil the game experience for real gamers. Anyway, you might as well pick one, but the first problem with having a level 100 char arises quickly. At 20 you can upgrade the character and the normal mercenaries can be upgraded easily with Ashen crystals and they can be looted from low level monsters and you probably have enough. The 120 char however needs endgame crystals valued at 120 million each. You barely made 200,000 and need 50 just for the first upgrade. It's a possible way to force you to buy Atlas ore, however I deposit 500 coins and still can't buy the Atlas ore, but got a random message not enough game level. Is it possible that the game is trying to stop me from spending? But no, after 48 in-game hours you can buy, and that's actually a good thing as it is a feeble defense against gold sellers and scammers. Now, since the game just launched, the default overload gold seller is still spamming the chat, which is a good way of stopping half your player base from playing right away. Plus, they probably cost more than they make at this point, since the player base is still really small. You can double click on quests to move there automatically. On top of that, pretty much another very bad move is the teleportation license you gain very early on. This makes players just jump from one quest objective back to the quest giver and repeat. Added to that, you really have to look at the minimap to spot the side quests, which aren't necessary at all anymore, at least not at low level. And for some reason, after level 30, all that boosting slows down dramatically, so just that extra time getting to know the game and maybe even all at the beauty of the game is ripped away for absolutely no benefit. The combat is turn-based and each round an increasing amount of your mercenaries get a turn, up to 5 mercenaries. In a somewhat twisted way, it's very similar to Final Fantasy combat. The combat is actually pretty good. Each mercenary can only use basic attack the first round and use one of their special attacks from the second round. Or later round when it comes off cooldown. Now there's a lot of extra depth to combat, like using a potion or scroll will take 1 turn and you cannot get hit more than a few times in the turn before that or the cast will fail. Also some classes attack in a horizontal or vertical line and can hit multiple monsters at once. Or archetypes can hit the back row. Or killing a boss will cause all monsters to flee. Auto battle works pretty well, but you'll probably lose out on a lot of bonus monsters as they somehow seem to avoid them altogether. As well as make sure to disable a lot of skills by right clicking on them, especially on the early level. Classes have unique abilities. For example, taking the Cannoneer as a starting character is quite the boost. It has a relatively low attack but can attack up to 5 enemies in a plus formation. It can also add a dot effect on those with a special attack, so it becomes much better against larger groups. At higher level it can even just dot everyone with one special attack. If you for example have several gunners or cannoneers, you can make sure you keep enemies stunned by hitting them 3 separate times with 3 separate mercenaries. Also mercenaries randomly combo 1, 2 or 3 times. Fighting the same enemy awards you sometimes the creature card, which you can upgrade a few times by grinding some more against the same monsters and get bonus experience and ultimately bonus loot from it. And talking about bonus loot, sometimes a monster gets a bonus symbol above his head. Killing it that round will have a chance for chest or another reward. Even more rare, you find an exceptional boost like a strong weapon or an experience boost when defeating an enemy. Another battle system is called TBS, or Tactical Battle System, where you will find a turn-based style map where you can move your characters around. Much like, for example, King's Bounty, every dungeon has one floor called Skirmish where you can fight this style. They are great for farm experience and items quickly, as you can auto-battle those in fast pace. For the advanced TBS it goes even further. In Hisarlik Hill you can reenact all epic Greek battles. You even have a few buildings in the back which produce buffs and vehicles for you, like base camp and vehicle bay. They become a heaven for experience, and once you fight battles like the Battle for Troy, they bring an extra dimension to the game. You can do quests to unlock the Witch class, for example, around level 50. A Witch has a massive AoE attack which is insanely overpowered in TBS. A little later you can try, for example, to get the Princess. This class is notable because it can make a heavy ranged formation incredibly sustaining and powerful. Combining this with, for example, a Shaman's Brutal Will, you can make a firing squad that can blow everything away in a heartbeat. And there are many ways to become stronger. For example, growth files can boost a random stat of a champion at the cost of the bonus points. You can upgrade your class multiple times to gain more power and skills. These can be looted from commodity boxes, which can contain books as well to upgrade the active skills of mercenaries. And of course your gear can be upgraded multiple times by using another of that item as well as enchantment stones. Every day you can do daily quests with all the dispatches you find, especially with teleportation license. You can do them really quickly, and the reward contains a choice of an artifact, item or Historia seals. Go for the seals, they allow you to buy boxes and have a shot at real useful treasure. The artifacts can either be fake or real, making it quite a gamble. Still, if they are real, they're usually worth less than what you could possibly get from the seals. And talking about gambling, after a certain level you unlock the jackpot challenge. And it's actually not a real gamble. Monster loot gets stored in the jackpot challenge, unless all the slots are full of course, and you can choose at any time to accept all or turn all items in one single item from the list. The combined value then becomes the amount of your chosen product. For cheap products you can get a very high amount, but if you have a valuable item, the combined value of the rest might not even be enough to get one extra. Crafting itself can be done in several ways. It can be done with autocraft, which is a life skill you can learn. This means you can keep your PC running overnight to autocraft or complete large batches of craftable items, but combat will also progress your crafting. You can learn crafting skills from trainers around the map, and you should. Especially once you are in a guild, you can get free experience by helping the guild craft. And if you want to craft your own gear, armor is probably the best choice, as the chest piece gives the most primary stat, magic defense and vitality, while for example the helmet often gives intelligence even if it's for melee. Make sure you bring a ton of enchantment stones, because after you crafted the gear, and those can be +4 or +7 if you're really lucky, you can instantly enchant them to higher levels, and that's why you always want a large batch size. Because if you only craft one spirit armor instead of the maximum 20, you are really disappointed if that turns out to be a +5. Especially since you need 32 plus zeros to actually make a +5 spirit armor. +7, 8 and 9 items are locked and can be only used but not traded when unlocked. But being able to craft a +10 item is amazing, because you can both use it and sell it later. Many large cities provide you with all the goods you need, like hospitals and the market, which is a player auction but also has most items at a fixed price. And if you are in a large guild, your guild can take control of a city if you're strong enough, and you can recruit people who wander on the roads and in the city for more population, or mercenaries for your own party of course. Now the good thing is that the version just launched, so the cities are still very empty and only a few cities are under control of a guild. Guilds can build more buildings in it of course and expand once they control it. Now guilds can be in a nation, a collection of multiple guilds, and both guilds and nations can do dungeons. Now those dungeons can bring in tons of treasure and upgrades. So this is pretty much Atlantica Online and, well, right now Atlantica Europe in a nutshell. It's actually a very good game. It has a very great depth. I'm not sure if they should have gone for a Europe version, but obviously they had a American version. I used to play it a long time ago, and then I played it again, and a friend of me managed to actually transfer his old account from indoors, I think, to Van Faye. But I failed to do it there, and now again you can transfer from any other place, but your champions will be level 1, so that's absolutely not worth it. So if you are into the grindy type of MMORPGs, this is actually one of the better ones. And the better ones especially because it has a great amount of quests, it has a great amount of depth, and you can literally upgrade your own historical knowledge and experience with it as well. Drop a like if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll try to post a video every week with another game. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.